for the YouTube subscribers. Go subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Vegas 25, Reyes versus Prochazka back in Vegas. Sneaky good card here, guys, especially the main card. It's fairly deep, minus the first fight, first women's fight. 5 solid fights after that. I'll be going over those 5 fights for you guys shortly. What a wild weekend. We got to start obviously in Jacksonville, where fans were back. Fans were back for the first time in a while. You know, at first I thought it was better without fans. You know, you get to hear the corner, you can hear the kicks, the punches a lot crisper and clear. But, you know, I think I was wrong. The energy in there was crazy. You know, more KOs. It looks like guys were going in there more after the fight. And you know, even chants from the fans were great, especially the "fuck Jake Paul" chant there. Wild night with some bad luck as well, but with some nice wins. You know, the first 2 fights of the main card, it was tough to see. It was very tough to see the drop foot with Crute. Since I was on Crute, it's obviously tough to see. You know, Smith kicked that same spot as Cheeto did in the Cheeto versus Sean O'Malley fight. That nerve, and again another drop foot, but it looked like Crute tried to go through and tried to fight. You can see he had the takedown advantage. He was getting pieced up on the feet. Smith was using a very nice jab, but I think Crute had the advantage in the wrestling department, and even on one foot, you've seen the last 30 seconds of that fight, he was able to take him down. So I think he would have ended up winning that fight if it went all 3, but yeah, it's tough to see how that happened again, especially you get a big young prospect, right, up and coming prospect. But hey, got to give it to Smith. He kicked the right spot and he used that jab effectively. And then hey, what can I say about Chris Weidman? Very tough to see the Chris Weidman fight. You know, the first strike of the match, and that happens to Chris Weidman, right? We've seen the same thing happen to Silva. Not too long ago when Silva and Weidman fought. So, you know, especially after Weidman, you know, I thought he had a little chance to go on maybe a little run here, see how far he can take this. And that was gross. That was hard to watch. You know, I've seen tons of fights and tons of things that happen in the cage, and that was up there for definitely one of the worst things that I've seen due to an injury. And yeah, and it's tough when you're on the fight as well. You're on the over. I was on the over 2.5 rounds. You know, I thought if that fight did, you know, if that injury did not happen, I think it would have gone to 2.5, no problem. But it didn't. So you know, it's hard to say that. Let's go on to the 3 main fights here, the 3 title fights, and that's where we got our money back. And we went 3-0 on the title fights. I did get Rose at plus 170. Rose at plus 170 was huge. I think there was just too much value. I mentioned in the video for you guys as well, there's too much value not to take a chance on Rose. And you know, I love her. I love her as a fighter and a person. Very happy she has the title. Excited to see what's next for her. Valentina by KO we were on at plus 120. That did cash. Did think it was going to go a little longer though, over the 2.5 rounds, but it did not get there. She just dominated, and she showed why. I think she, with her and Amanda Nunes, I would love to see that happen. Someone's going to have to either go up or go down. I don't know if it will happen, but we will see. And then Usman wins easily. Did I think it would be that quick? No. I did have a small play, a personal play on plus 260 by KO. I did think he did say he was going to finish it. We have seen him finish his last 2 fights versus Burns and Colby, and he went out and finished Masvidal. You know, a lot of people thought it might not happen. And yes, you know, the decision was the favorite at minus 125. But at the end of the day, he got the KO. He is unstoppable right now. I don't see anyone beating him. You know, Colby will give him a good fight, but won't beat him at the end of the day. I think Usman will knock him out again, or at least win by a decision. And I just I can't wait to see what's next. I did just hear Burns and Thompson are fighting in the summer, so winner of that may get Usman. And I think Thompson will bring a lot of trouble for Usman. Very different style. He hasn't seen a style like that, so I think Thompson could be a good fit there. Let's go to the weekly update, guys. Weekly update. Updated record 46 and 26, 64% best bets. Tough luck with the Crute, right? I had a Crute and Usman parlay best bet around even money. And obviously Crute got injured and couldn't finish the fight. We're still at plus 3.8 units thanks to a few, the 3-0, right? 3-0 on the title fights there. On fire, weekly update on all sports, guys. On fire in the NHL. Like, this is an understatement. 42-19 long-term run in the NHL right now, guys. 69%. And 66% on the NHL season right now. Seeing the NHL very well. The system I developed for this format, the new NHL format, continues to cash play after play. And we will be continuing moving forward with the same system. PGA is also really hot, guys. 4 straight profitable weeks, profitable events. Big week last week, over 6 units in prop bets, and an outright winner with Smith and Leishman at plus 1,200. This is 2 outright winners in April, guys. 2 outright winners in April, which makes up for any outright losses previously. Over 55 units in 12 months, guys. Over 55 units in 12 months in the PGA. MLB and NBA continues to be very low volume. Still profitable in the NBA. I will be picking it up closer to playoff time and in the playoffs. And then slow start in the MLB. I've been trying to pick spots in the MLB. Hasn't been too successful as of right now. But again, MLB will pick up once the NHL season has been completed. I want to thank a few new subscribers that subscribed last week, and 2 full-year subscribers, guys. Full-year subscribers, thank you so much. The full year I think is the best value, just because you get to see a big sample size. And like I said, I've been profitable 6 years in a row in all sports. So this shows, like I mentioned before, you can have a losing month, you can have a losing week. So someone that jumps on your service for a week and you have that losing week or you have that losing month, it's hard to show them a larger sample size. So the guys that do know me and the guys that have been following me for years, they know that I am profitable at the end of the year. So thanks for that, guys. Always my continuing support. I have guys that always re-up every month, and that's just as good as well. You don't tie up your money. So I do thank you for the new subscribers. Check out systemsportscapping.com, systemsportscapping.com for all the information you need on subscriptions, all the options there. All my records are updated there after each play as well. And then you can also find my YouTube videos. Let's get right into the card, guys. Let's get right into the card. Yes, sir. Remember, guys, shop around. Shop around for the best price. This is not the best price that I'm posting here. This is just set odds that are on these graphics. Let's start with Reyes main event. Reyes is back after that knockout on Juan. Plus 115 you're getting Reyes. That's some sneaky good value there versus Prochazka. Minus 135 for the Czech. A fun main event, which I didn't see being scheduled. However, Reyes is on a 2-fight losing streak, guys. And Prochazka does have a lot of hype around him coming off a KO win over Ozdemir. I was on Prochazka in that fight, guys, due to the value, of course, and also the KO value. I got it around plus 300, and I took him to just win straight. I forget what the line was for him to just win. Maybe plus 140 if I recall. But yeah, definitely a lot of hype coming into the UFC. And, I think this fight is very difficult to predict. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. And and the reason I say that is because Prochazka is very difficult to predict, as you can see, is his fighting style. That man is a wild man, and it's very unorthodox style. It's hard to fight against, and it shows. He hasn't lost since 2015. Sure, those fights haven't been in the UFC, and has only, he's only had one fight, right, in the UFC. But, a lot of people are high on him. A lot of people are high on the guy. And he does have, in Ryzen, he has a lot of wins under his belt. And, Ozdemir's a good veteran. It's a good win for him. And it was a very nice, clean knockout. But he did struggle early in that fight. And if you were on you were definitely worried. It wasn't a very clean. It wasn't like he knocked them out in. I think it was the second round, if I recall. And in the first round, it was very even, the fight. It probably was a tie going into the second round. I remember Ozdemir caught him with a shot and he stumbled. So, yeah, it's something you're going to have to watch here. This fight may be a good live betting opportunity as well. Reyes is coming in here fighting for, I'm not going to say his job, but he's fighting to avoid 3 straight losses. Right? He has the back-to-back losses. John Jones, where some say he did not lose that fight, right? I do think he did lose the fight 3-2. Very close, though. You have to be able to win the championship rounds if you want to take the championship belt. That's my opinion, and that's why when the fight's so close, you give it to the champion. So I did agree with that. And then obviously the non-fight, right? He got knocked out. I think he was very sloppy in that fight, didn't come in with a great game plan, and Juan caught him. And now you see how good Jan is, right? He just beat one of the best pound-per-pound fighters in the UFC, Israel. And so I don't think Reyes should be ashamed. If Reyes comes into this fight focused, I did watch some interviews already with him. He does seem very focused. He did say he went to some dark places during training camp. He was very secluded in training. He deleted all his social media. And he says he's coming focused with a game plan in here. And what I think his game plan should be is to mix it up in all aspects of MMA. If he just decides to stand and bang like he did with Jan, I think he loses this fight, guys. I think Prochazka is too difficult to predict. He has power. He's known for knockouts on the regional scene. That's what he does. He knocks out guys. And, now we can start saying maybe Reyes' chin is suspect, right? So that's something you got to watch here. If Yuri connects on Reyes, it could be night-night. So I do think Reyes needs to mix in everything. I think he needs to try to bring this to the ground. I think he needs to grapple with him. And I think he needs to get against the cage as well and try to grind out a win here. I don't see a striking battle and Reyes comes out on top unless it's later in the fight. Like if it goes like 4 or 5, even, if the full distance, which I don't see this going the full distance, and it's probably my favorite play on the card, would be the fight not to go 5, but you're going to pay at minus 334. I don't see this going the full distance. Even the under. I would look at the under in rounds as well, under 3.5, under 2.5 maybe as well. But yeah, that's Reyes' path to victory, in my opinion. Make it a mixed martial arts fight, not a striking kickboxing fight. That's what Prochazka wants. He wants you to fight on the feet and strike because that's his advantage, and I do think he is the better striker in certain ways. I think Reyes has shown over time that he's a great striker, great boxer, but I think Prochazka may be a little more well-rounded on the feet. So that, from a side standpoint, I think it's very difficult to call this fight, guys, just because we haven't seen enough from the Czech. We've seen one UFC fight, right? And look who Reyes has been there with some big names. He's beat some big names. He did beat Ozdemir already, just like the Czech. But he's beat, St. Peru. He beat Cannonier. He beat Weidman. Weidman's going to be in the Hall of Fame, I think, one day. He's one of the better fighters. So, it's very tough to see just because you look at the schedule. If you look at the strength of fights, obviously Reyes has fought for the championship. Some say he won. So it's tough for me to lay juice with the Czech. Now, he could be the next big thing. He very well could be. I just want to see one more fight. I want to see this fight and see if he is the next big thing. And then, I'm going to start pulling the trigger a little more. I like that at plus money last time against Ozdemir, and I jumped on it. This is a little different, right? You're paying minus 135 against, Reyes, who's been in there with Beast and, was at the top of this division, he's ranked third in this division. So, I think the value is with Reyes. I haven't bet the side as of yet. I lean Reyes just because of the value at plus 115. But yeah, I do like this fight not to go the full 5 and, maybe it to go under in the rounds as well. Should be interesting. We're going to see we're going to see if the Czech is the real deal and if he's ready for, maybe a title fight or another fight to get to the title fight. Or, is Reyes, just had a couple slip-ups and he's back and wants to get back in there and fight for the title. Co-main event, guys. Co-main event. We got another fun one. Cub Swanson plus 135 versus the Georgian Jija Chikazia minus 160. This is a classic veteran versus up-and-comer type of fight, guys. The Georgian's 5-0 in the UFC. And hasn't been really in there with cans. He's had some nice wins over Omar Morales. Very good striker. He has a win over Erwin Rivera and Jamal Emmers. Swanson has been there with everyone, right? He's fought, some very tough guys. Love the guy's hard and fighting style. Any day I'll watch a Cub Swanson fight. He always leaves it all in there. He's coming off of back-to-back wins versus Kron Gracie and Daniel Pineda. That Daniel Pineda fight was very impressive. And 2 nice wins for the vet. Before those wins, though, he was on a 4-fight losing streak against tough competition. This fight will show how good this Georgian really is going to be in the UFC moving forward, in my opinion. I think this is a big test for him. This is not personally a fight I love just because of the price. Minus 160 is a bit high. Yes, I lean him as the better striker. He likes to use his reach and his kicks. Very good kickboxer. Tons of kickboxing fights. I do think he's a better striker. Now, if Cub is smart, I know he likes to bang. He likes to throw heavy, bang, and he does throw some volume as well. But I do think the Georgian's the better striker in this matchup. And if this is three rounds of striking, the Georgian wins. The Georgian wins this fight if it's 3 rounds of striking. But this is mixed martial arts. So I do think Cub, if he's smart, he'll try to get this to the ground and wrestle. Remember, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And I think he can exploit the Georgian's ground game. We haven't seen much of it because most of the fights and most of the matchups have been on the feet. So if Cub's smart, he'll try to get this to the ground. But if this does stay on the feet, I lean the Georgian here. I do think he's the real deal. I think he's a very good fighter. I would look, if you're going to bet him, don't lay minus 160. I would look at the decision. Right, I look at the decision, and it's mainly just because of his leg strikes and his striking in distance. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to keep Swanson from getting him to the ground. That's why I can't go all in on this fight. But I am going to look at the decision prop and get plus money. And I do think this fight goes over 2.5 rounds and possibly the distance as well. Next fight here, guys. Kudalaba, minus 130 versus Jacoby, plus 110. This was supposed to be Devin Clark. However, he couldn't fight, so steps in Jacoby on short notice. Undefeated in the UFC at 3-0, but he really hasn't beat anybody. And this will be his biggest test to date, especially on short notice. Kudalaba has only fought Ankalaev in the past year, and it was twice. Remember, he had that weird first fight where the ref had a bad call and he called the fight while he was standing, so he got a rematch. But Ankalaev's just on a different level. Kudalaba, when he steps up in competition, it doesn't work out too well. Ankalaev twice, Cannonier, and Misha as well. So when he steps up in competition, it doesn't work out. But this is a big step up, big step down in competition, and a guy taking a fight on short notice, right? I think it's a good price here. He is a little wild. He's not a guy I really like to back just because he goes in there and starts throwing. You never know what's going to happen with Kudalaba. But I think if he uses his wrestling and grappling, he wins this fight. And I'm willing to lay the small price at minus 130. And I also don't think this is a fight that goes 3 rounds. Another good fight, guys. Sean Strickland minus 260 versus Jocko plus 210. Two guys with very nice records. Jocko, the Polish fighter, is on the small. He's on a small three-fight winning streak here with a nice win over Anders in his last fight. Jocko likes to use his kickboxing. He'll use a lot of kicks, but I don't know if you really want to stand and bang with Strickland. Strickland's a big step up here in competition, in my opinion. Strickland's coming that long layoff, right? He had 2 fights after a long layoff, but he had that accident, right? I think it was a motorcycle accident. And then he's won 2 straight after that. They eased him back in with a Jack Marshman fight. But after he beat a really good Brandon Allen, we seen Brandon Allen last week. I was on Brandon Allen last week, which I forgot to mention on the top. That was a full unit play on Brandon Allen. And I knew he was going to get it to the ground. Robertson's horrible on the ground. And Allen won that easily second round finish. And Strickland looked very good against Allen. He knocked him out in the second round. He can really strike, guys, and does have some heavy hands. And I do think this is going to be a striking battle. Jocko's not going to take him down. I haven't seen Jocko wrestle much in the UFC. He's mostly striking, likes to kick. And I do think Strickland would struggle against a wrestler. So I don't see him struggling here because I don't think Jocko's a wrestler. So I will be looking Strickland's way. However, I'm not in love with the price here, guys. I'm not willing to lay 260. I may look at it in a 2-fight parlay. I may look at the KO prop as well at plus money. But this is not a fight that I'm going to be laying on a straight minus 260. Jocko's very good record, 5-0 in the UFC. So I'm not jumping all over this 260. And it's not a guarantee Strickland wins this fight. I say Strickland wins this 6, maybe 7 times out of 10 if they fought. So this is something I'm going to be looking at closer to Friday and Saturday, but I do like Strickland as of right now. And last fight I'm going to go over here, guys. It's a good fight as well. Like I said, very deep main card. These 5 fights that I decided to talk about, the 6 is not so great, the women's fight, but these 5 fights, very good fights. And this is another very intriguing matchup where we may be seeing a lot of grappling and wrestling, guys. We all know what Merab will be trying to do in this one, right? Grind against the cage, look for his wrestling, and grind to decision win. No secrets here. Stamen is a solid wrestler, though, so that's what I want to see if he's going to be able to just take him down like Merab has been doing in his previous fights, right? If we look at Merab's previous fights, not many have been wrestlers, and besides Ricky Simon, I think Ricky Simon, I'm not going to say if he's a better wrestler than Stamen, but Ricky Simon is a wrestler, and he lost that fight. It was in 2018. Yes, Merab has got better past that, but he got submitted by Simon taking him down and choking him out. So that's something to watch here, guys. If Stamen's going to be able to keep it on the feet, then Stamen wins this fight, in my opinion. And that's why I think there's good value here. Stamen plus 180 is the line here, but I've seen some 200s. My opinion is if you're going to see plus 200 or higher, you're going to want to take a double look at Stamen here just because of the value. This is going to be Merab's, as a step up for Merab in competition. And Stamen wrestles. That's the thing here. We don't see a ton of it, but I watched an interview with him. He said the past 6 months, all he's been doing is wrestling. And it makes sense, right? If you're going to fight Merab, you're going to want to do that. You're not going to have to worry too much about the striking. And Stamen, like I said, has the striking advantage in this fight. So if he's going to be able to stop the takedown, Stamen has a very good chance to win this fight. And at plus 200, I might have a bet on it, guys. I haven't bet it as of yet. The best bet in this fight is not to go the distance and over 2.5 rounds. But you're going to have to pay for that. And, if you don't mind paying for it, go for it. Or throw it in a 2-fight parlay. But that's going to be the best bet here. I don't see anyone knocking the other guy out. There's no submission artists here in this fight. It's going to be a grinded out type of fight. And it's going to be Merab trying to take down Stamen. And how good is Stamen going to be with his takedown defense? That's all it's going to be, guys. It's not too much of a secret here. So I think it's a very intriguing matchup. I want to see how much Stamen has been working on his takedown defense and how good of a wrestler he has been. Just because we haven't seen much of it, we see a lot of he likes to strike, right? So, and he's not that bad at it. Not a great striker, but he's definitely better than Mirab standing. So, it's a very interesting clash here, guys. And I cannot lay minus 220 on Mirab. I don't want to take a chance in a parlay. I do think, he maybe wins 6 out of 10 times, Mirab. But if you're giving me plus 200, I'm going to look at Stamen for the upset, for the underdog win here. And also the over 2.5. If I can fit it in a 2-fight parlay somehow, or even the fight to go to the distance, I will definitely take a look at that. But if you're betting Mirab, don't bet him minus 220. Bet him by decision. You're going to save some money there. You're not going to lay minus 220. I don't see how he knocks out Stamen or even chokes him out or anything like that. So if you guys are Mirab backers, I don't blame you. Just bet the decision. All right, guys, that will do it for UFC Vegas 25. 25. We're getting up there, guys. I wonder when they're going to start having crowds in Vegas. Probably soon. Probably be out of the Apex, right? It won't be there anymore if they're getting full crowd. So that definitely will be interesting, guys. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff to help me out. And until next week, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.